How does that play out in the local government? How are we doing that in the local government, Phil? Are we working on that?
Well,
how does that play out locally? Should the local government stay out of our lives also, or where do we stand? What are we doing with the local here locally?
here with the Libertarian Party, we've been very active in going to the recent town hall meetings that the city councils had. I think the news people actually interviewed you at one point. You were there talking about
one of the early meetings. Yes.
Yes, and I believe we had a positive effect. It didn't meet the goals I would like to have seen, but there was a 3% cut across the board. They cut $30 million from the previous budget that they were using, so that's a slight improvement. I still don't think philosophically there's been any changes, and that's why government will continue to grow. I think the politicians are basically covering their butts. They know that they can't, they just didn't want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg.
Right. Well, and that's one of the things that we need to pay attention to is when we are involved in local politics, we need to let the local politicians know that we want them out of our lives as much as possible also. Now, we do need to have roads, and we do need to have the parks, and we do need to have the protection, what I call the 3 Ps, the proper role of government. But along those lines, we need to let the local government know that their role is not to be a nanny state. Their role is not to hold our hands, but their role is to provide the infrastructure so that you and I can make our choices, that we can build a business, that we can, and again, it's the same theme that I was talking about in federal government, it's the same theme here locally, that we are able to build our business and able to make our choices, right or wrong, but we are able to make the choice. This is why every time I say make the choices right or wrong, I'm coming back to different things that libertarians have been known to stand against the drug war before legalization of drugs. Well, that is a way where the government gets out and we make our own choices. I believe that using drugs is wrong, but that's a choice that people make. It destroys lives, but that's a choice that people make. What we as libertarians also believe that taking money out of our pocket to give to charities, I can give to charities. I do give to charities. It's not for the government to take out of my pocket, essentially at gunpoint, because try not giving it. If you don't pay your taxes, what's going to happen? People are going to come and people with weapons are going to come and take your money, take your house. And so it's not up to the government to take my money and give it to somebody that's just as healthy as me to help them. It's my choice to give it to the charities. I do give to my church. I do give to other charities so that will help in areas that where people have made wrong choices, help them get on their feet.
Yeah, and that's where, when you get into the idea of the Constitution and rights, I mean, even I've heard it said in the debate that health care is a right. Well, if it is, the role of government is only to not impede people from seeking the health care. It's not to, right now what they're doing is they're acting like if there's such a thing as a right, the government can go in and make people do it. The recent speech that President Obama gave about health care, he said that he's going to force people to buy health care. I mean, what does that have to do with a right? In the Bill of Rights, we have the right to free speech and the right to bear arms. Are they going to force everybody to buy a gun? A right is something that keeps the government from getting involved, not something saying the government has to make people do it.
Right, and also in that speech the other night, he was talking about reducing the cost of health care, but paying for it by charging fees to the insurance company. How does that make health care cheaper? How does that make insurance cheaper if you're going to charge a fee that's going to be passed on to us?
The whole plan is quite confusing sounding to me.
It is. It is. Very confusing sounding. Phil, where are we building at? Tell me a little bit about what's going on. You're on the state board, and you're in Region 7. So how many regions do we have in the state, and where are you building at, and when some of your next meetings?
We have about 11. Oh, we're about halfway done. We have about 11 regions. My region has a lot of counties, not as much population. Here in Jacksonville, we have an affiliate. recently, Baker County over McClenny, they just started an affiliate. They have not as many people as we do, but they're very passionate. And in fact, I believe they're going to be involved in a Tea Party rally in McClenny pretty soon, and they're working on their website. And on Tuesday, September the 22nd, in Putnam County in Palatka, we're going to have an organizational meeting. I'm going to be there. John Wayne Smith, who's running for the candidacy for governor of the state of Florida, will be there. I think you're going to be there.
I'm going to be there.
And actually, the congressional district that you're running for snakes through Putnam, so hopefully we can get people involved there. Now, that meeting in Putnam County is going to be at the Golden Corral in Palatka on Highway 19. That's in the middle of Palatka at 6:30 p.m. Right now, it looks like there will be about a dozen people I've been able to contact. It's always tough at the beginning because, you know, when you start organizing, I don't have everybody's phone number, address, email address. I just have to search and figure it out.
So this is the inaugural meeting of the Putnam County chapter of the Florida Libertarian Party.
I hope that's what it turns into. If people are ready to start something, I'm ready to help them.
Well, good. Well, this is where you can help also, is to call people that you know in Putnam County and come on out. It's the Golden Corral. It can't be too hard to find. It's on Highway 19, right there in the middle of Palatka. So 6:30 Tuesday night, the 22nd. If you have any questions, you can call me. My phone number will be up here later. The fun part is at the meetings we discuss not only how can we build the Libertarian Party, but we do get into discussions on the proper role of the Libertarian Party. We get into discussions on running candidates. We get into discussions different types. Our meeting here in Duval County is the third Thursday of every month over at the Golden Corral on Southside Boulevard. At those meetings, we talk about where we do get into some pretty good discussions, philosophical discussions on where we can build, how we can reach people to let them know that there are people out there that love the Constitution, love the United States of America, and want us to succeed. Do not want to shred the Constitution and want us to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And I have to say, if you can make the meeting, that's the best way to get an idea of what we're really about. Because a lot of people, maybe they watch the show or they go to a website, and sometimes when you don't meet the actual people involved, you create a caricature in your mind of absolutes. And we have people across the gamut politically. Some people are just so anti-government, they get into things that other people don't feel comfortable with, like private police or private fire or private roads, and you'd be surprised, they make compelling arguments. I think some of that could be feasible. Other people just want to really minimize the intrusion that government's making in our life, but they just feel that the Libertarian Party is closer to where they're at than the Democrats or the Republicans.
I think in listening to interviews of people at Tea Parties that the Libertarian Party is closer to the view of most of the Tea Party goers and most of the independents out there than any other party that's out there. And the reason I'm saying that is because people are saying, let us live our lives, get the government out of our lives as much as is possible. And I think that's the direction we need to go. Too often we're going towards a collective society. We're going away from individualism. We're going to in collective society. The last time we heard that was USSR. And we don't want to turn into that type of society where the government takes care of us from cradle to grave. We want the choices to make that we may have the freedom to succeed or fail. But all of that is on me, not on the government. And that's what we need to get more people involved, and that's where you come in at, getting involved not only in the party but in the various meetings. Phil, one of the things that we've talked about is running candidates. And for the last little bit that we're going to talk about, you've heard how I feel about the Constitution. I'm pretty passionate about the Constitution. And we are running candidates. John Wayne Smith is running for governor of the state of Florida. And he and I have had discussions on different things, and we allow disagreements, but he and I have had discussions. He's good folk, but you haven't heard about him running. He has filed his paperwork.